Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
Pass me the sick bucket, please.
Welcome back, fellow patriots, to Right View Nation, where we say what the mainstream media won't, and we ask the questions that must be answered. Today's video is not for the faint of heart. What we're about to break down is the kind of thing that makes the political elite sweat. It's a Senate hearing that peeled back the curtain just enough to reveal the rot, the lies, and the raw hypocrisy running rampant in our so-called justice system. This time, it was Senator John Kennedy, a true Southern lion, questioning Kash Patel. What unfolded? A firestorm of uncomfortable truths, unanswered questions, and one very chilling moment that's making the internet explode. Let's walk through this madness together.
Mr. Director, worry not. We'll make sure your agency is adequately funded. This judge you arrested in Wisconsin, she was breaking federal law, wasn't she?
Yes, that's why we arrested her.
She was helping an illegal immigrant escape being taken into custody. Is that right?
Yes, and the field agents decided to open the case, work the case.
And as Americans, do we get to pick and choose which laws we want to follow?
We do not.
If you're a state court judge, do you get to decide you don't want to follow federal law?
No.
And if you violate federal law, you get arrested, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
That's called equal treatment under the law, isn't it?
Yes, Senator.
You remember Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. I think Ms. Page worked for Justice. The Inspector General found in its investigation that they hated President Trump and they really wanted Secretary Clinton to win. Is that true?
That's correct, sir.
And this would be the same same Ms. Page who sent an email to Mr. Strzok with whom she was having an affair. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? And Mr. Strzok with the FBI, senior official at the FBI replied, quote, no, he won't. We'll stop it. Did I read that correctly?
You did, Senator.
Okay. Now, Ms. Page got quit before she could get fired. Mr. Strzok was fired. And predictably, they filed a lawsuit because in Washington, it's easier to divorce your spouse than it is to fire a federal employee. Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
Pass me the sick bucket, please. The Hunter Biden laptop. In October of 2016, shortly before the election, the New York Post wrote a story that was widely covered talking about Mr. Hunter Biden's influence peddling scheme based on his laptop. A couple of weeks later, Secretary of State soon-to-be Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, organized a group of 51 so-called intelligence experts. Had some real rock stars on the list. Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, and they said, oh, no, the story in the New York Post is not true. It's based on Russian disinformation. You remember that?
I do, Senator, as the lead investigator for Russiagate for the House Intel Committee.
Yeah. The FBI had had the laptop for 10 months, hadn't they?
They did, Senator.
So the FBI knew right before the election that it wasn't Russian disinformation, didn't they?
And that was confirmed by the Inspector General's report.
Yeah. Who at the FBI refused to let the FBI tell the American people the truth?
I don't have that name in front of me, sir.
Well, would you look?
I will, sir.
I'd like to know. I'd like a name, not a division. I'd like the name. A person with a brain and a beating heart.
Yes, sir.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production to the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Reid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director. As you're well aware, DOJ...
First, Senator Kennedy dropped a hammer on the subject of a Wisconsin judge who was caught red-handed helping an illegal immigrant escape justice. Let me repeat that a judge, someone who wears the robe of legal authority, was assisting an illegal alien evade ICE. And the left still claims there's no such thing as a two-tiered justice system? Give me a break. Kennedy made it clear, judges do not get to pick and choose which laws to follow. And here's the kicker, she was arrested. That's the good news. But it never should have gotten that far. If this were a conservative judge protecting the Constitution, the FBI would have kicked in her door on CNN Live. But because it fits the left's open border narrative, silence. Then it got juicier. Kennedy brought up the infamous Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, those two corrupt bureaucrats caught conspiring to stop President Trump from ever getting elected. Remember that? They weren't just texting sweet nothings, they were plotting. Lisa Page said Trump's not going to win, right? And Strzok responded, no, we'll stop it. Think about that, patriots. That's a senior FBI official declaring an intent to undermine the will of the American people. That is treason with a keyboard. And what does our glorious government do? They reward them. Strzok got $1.2 million. Lisa Page, $800,000. From who? The Department of Justice. That's your tax dollars being funneled into the pockets of deep state operatives who tried to subvert democracy. That's not justice. That's a slap in the face to every American voter. But it gets even better, or worse, depending on your blood pressure. Senator Kennedy brought up the Hunter Biden laptop story. Now, you remember how that went down. The New York Post dropped an October 2020 bombshell showing Biden family corruption. And what happened? 51 so-called intelligence experts, Clapper, Brennan, Hayden, all lined up and declared it was Russian disinformation. Guess what? It wasn't. The FBI had the laptop for 10 months, and they knew it was real. Yet they stood by while the Biden campaign and its media allies lied to the American people. They let the narrative fester. They helped cover it up, and an election was swayed as a result. This wasn't a mistake. This was intentional deception. And Kennedy made one demand that we all agree with. Give us a name. Not a department. Not a vague statement. A name. And you know what he got? Crickets. They can track your Venmo, your texts, your location, and your medical history. But they can't give us the name of the person who silenced the truth about Hunter Biden before an election? Please. Then came the moment that made headlines everywhere. Senator Kennedy looked Kash Patel in the eyes and asked the question we've all been whispering since 2019. Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or was he killed? Boom. Straight. No chaser. Now, Kash Patel gave the official line that Epstein died by suicide in his cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center. But you could feel it. The whole room tensed up. Because let's face it, nobody believes that fairy tale. Cameras off. Guards asleep. Bed sheets strong enough to snap steel. No cellmate. High-profile inmate with connections to the world's elite suddenly dies. Come on. Kennedy pushed further. Will you release all the information? And what did he get? Bureaucratic spin. We're working with DOJ, they say. We want to protect victims, they say. Translation. We're hiding something. And Kennedy, bless his patriot heart, asked what every American was thinking. Will we get the truth before I die? That's where we're at, folks. One of the most powerful senators in the country is unsure whether the American people will ever get the truth about Epstein, one of the biggest scandals in modern history. Patriots, if this hearing told us anything, it's that we are living in a country run by a shadow government of elites who protect their own. They lie. They cheat. They silence. And then they dare to say they serve you. But we see through it. We're not going to stop asking questions. We're not going to stop demanding names. And we're sure as hell not going to stop until justice is restored and the swamp is drained. So if you're tired of the lies, if you're tired of the cover-ups, if you're tired of watching our republic be sold off to the highest bidder, join us. Hit that like button, subscribe to Right View Nation, and most of all, share this video far and wide. Because here at Right View Nation, we don't whisper the truth. We scream it from the mountaintops. God bless you. God bless Senator Kennedy. And God bless the United States of America.